Hey guys, welcome back to Electrical Car Repair Live. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing to the channel. Today will be super helpful video guys to any of you having a Hyundai Tucson. If you guys have a Hyundai Tucson and you need to remove or replace the timing chain tensioner, stay with us. We'll explain how to do that, everything from start to finish. It will take a little bit of time because we need to remove the timing cover, so stay with us. All that will be covered in this video today and we'll explain how to do it. The procedure about doing that in the vehicle will be almost the same, but we have the engine out so we can show you with a great detail. Now, we are not recommending to replace the tensioner only. We'll recommend to go with the whole timing chain kit. Why? Because if the chain tensioner failed, most likely the chain will fail soon too. Timing chain guides, all that stuff, and you may be doing the job again or you may destroy your engine. So stay with us and we'll explain what we're talking about. And let me guys tell you a little bit about us. Every single car we get at the garage, we try to make at least 200 to 300 free repair videos. Why we do that? Simply because our mission at the shop is to save you as much money as we can. All we need guys in return, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, that way we can keep providing this free information to you. Now, if you need to buy any parts to use for a really good price and quick shipping as well, check out the link in the description of the video below and you can see where we get all our Tucson supplies from. So this is the engine right here that we'll be demonstrating on. This is a 2.4 GDI. It will be the same way being in the vehicle, but we'll be making hundreds of videos that can potentially save you thousands of dollars, and with the engine being out we can clearly show you things guys. So now, number one, okay, let's explain something. Before you start, you need to disconnect the car battery. Why? Because you will be removing the high pressure fuel pump, fuel lines, you will leak fuel, and you can catch yourself on fire. By disconnecting the car battery, you can reduce that risk. It still exists, but you can reduce it. And on these modern cars, it really matters which battery terminal you disconnect and reconnect first. Do it the wrong way, guys, and you can cause damage to the engine, computer, and the electrical system. So we have a special video that explains the proper way to disconnect the car battery and reconnect it. I'll put the link in the description of the video below. Number two, have a fire extinguisher on the side, protective gloves, high protection. Also, what you want to do guys, okay, make sure the engine is cold, it's not hot, because you will be spilling fuel, and make sure that you don't have an open flame, spark, anything next to you, no smoking. Now, with that being said, okay, that's the valve cover right here. In order to remove it now, okay, what do we need to do? We need to come here on the back side. Okay, that's the exhaust VVT solenoid. We need to disconnect it. Here we need to go ahead and disconnect the wires for that, and you can even reach through the holes here and squeeze them if you're afraid that you can break them. Now, right here, those things, okay, those gray things for the for the ignition codes, they need to, okay, come out. That's the safety locks. Once they come out, you press down, okay, and you pull them out. If it's stuck, what you can do, push in, then press down, and then disconnect it. Perfect. Now, right here we need to disconnect the the volume for the high pressure fuel pump, volume sensor. So we'll go ahead and disconnect that one, and disconnect it right here. Over there guys, okay, let me show you now. Okay, right here we'll have two bolts that we'll need to remove. We need to remove ignition coils as well, so we can flip the wiring harness to the side. So let's go ahead, do that now. Okay, perfect. Now, we have some there. Perfect, ignition coils came out. Now, right here you have the intake hose, we have it removed, but you will be able to either disconnect it from the intake hose or from right here, it's up to you. Next we'll disconnect the fuel line. Before we continue, here you have the low pressure fuel line. If you don't know how to disconnect it, we have a special video on our channel, how to disconnect fuel line on a Hyundai, on our main YouTube channel, Auto Repair guys. Then you will be probably leaking fuel, but carefully disconnect, okay, that line as well. Okay, that's a high pressure fuel line. Perfect. Now that line practically, okay, can come out like that. Now let's see what else we have here. Okay, Pcv hose. Let's go ahead and remove that Pcv hose, okay, to be out of the way, not to forget it. two bolts for the high pressure fuel pump. Just remove a little bit one, then the other one, not one over its cylinder, because it's spring loaded pump, and depending on where it stopped on the camshaft, you can have quite a bit of tension. Also guys, that will be the time to inspect your tappet, okay, because that one, okay, if it fails, it can destroy your engine, okay, and you don't want that to happen. Okay, we'll have a link in the description of the video below where you can buy replacement one from. So our pump practically stopped at a point where it didn't have too much pressure. Now, right here, we need to start removing all the bolts for the valve cover. So, starting from the back there, you can see where all the bolts are. Okay, they will come out, guys. Okay, be prepared, they will come out. Now, in the middle you have 4 more, 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, because this one we gotta lose. 2 for the next fuel pump there. We need to remove those as well. Perfect. Now you grab each one of the bolts, okay, and we need to pull them out. Okay, I dropped another one. You have to be kind of like careful, okay, not to drop them. Perfect. So we have a few more here. Okay, great. 2 more. Let's see. I don't think we have more bolts. Now, right here we have a, okay, that's a mount for a wire. We need to just pull it to the side a little bit. Now that gasket may be stuck depending how bad your valve cover could be stuck depending on how bad the gasket is, and you can see the valve cover came out just like that. So step number 1, before we remove the belt, in order to remove the pulley, we need to pre-loosen the 3 bolts, okay, right here for the water pump pulley. So let's go ahead, pre-loosen those, and we'll continue with the next step. So now let me show you what we'll be doing here. We're going to go ahead, okay, and we will remove the serpentine belt. That's the serpentine belt tensioner. You go counterclockwise, we remove the belt, pull it out, okay, and now that's where things get a little bit more complicated now, guys. In order to remove the crankshaft pulley, okay, the engine will be turning, okay, clockwise and counterclockwise. So what you will need to do in that case, okay, there is a special tool that it can fix the crankshaft so it doesn't move, okay, and you will be able to remove that bolt and get it tight to the required torque specs. Now, usually we found a way, okay, to remove it without using special tools, but I will not recommend it. What we're going to do, okay, now we're going to remove the intake manifold. We have it pre-loosened here, so we can, guys, okay, show you where you can install that special tool. There are 2 kinds of tools. One is on the engine starter, one is on the underneath the oil pan on the flywheel, and if you install that tool, it's going to set the crankshaft, and you can remove it. If you don't have that tool, it's something I don't recommend. We usually use, okay, that air compressor that we'll put the link in the description of the video below. The air gun, that's a high torque gun. That compressor pumps all the way to 165 psi, which is unbelievable for that little compressor, and we just practically go ahead, okay, and pre-loosen it with that. So we got our pre-loosened already, but stay with us until the end, and we're going to explain where actually, guys, okay, where you can install the special tool, okay, for the crankshaft. Now that one, our battery is short on it. We need to replace our battery on the little impact, but we pre-loosen it with the big one, and it's still holding a little bit, so we'll go ahead and change the battery and remove it. But this compressor and that impact, usually they don't have problem removing the bolt. Now installation is where you need to get it tight to certain torque specs, and we'll put the we'll have the video on the channel. But now you don't want to, guys, okay, you don't want actually to do that without a special tool, because you will be kind of like guessing how tight it is. Even though it's a keyed pulley, that's a good design. Okay, it did get loose. So now we can go ahead, okay, and pull the crankshaft pulley out of here. You can see just like that. If you want to see the video, guys, how to remove the intake manifold and remove the engine starter, we have the video on the channel, okay, and it's actually going to teach you how to do that step by step. So we removed the intake manifold, engine starter has been removed, okay, so we can show you where you can install that special tool, but practically you remove, that's where your engine starter will be. You insert it right here with the bolts, and it goes on the flywheel, which is right here. It goes in the teeth of the flywheel, so that way you can securely, okay, remove the bolt. So you get the idea, guys. So once we remove the oil pan, okay, right here, we remove the valve cover already. Oil pan's been removed. You don't need to remove the intake manifold for the valve cover, but we made our videos, guys, how to do it. And if you're using the special tools for the crankshaft pulley, you will need to remove the intake manifold. If you want to see the video, it's on our channel. We pre-loosened the 3 bolts actually for the water pump pulley here, so we can go ahead, remove those, okay, and it will come out simply just like that. Next, we need to remove the tensioner pulley right here. We should not forget to do that. First, that bolt right here, excuse me, is reverse threaded, so in order to get it loose, you go clockwise instead of counterclockwise. Okay, the other way. Nope, we need to use that because it got quite tight, because every time you install the belt you actually get it tight. Okay, it can loose. So let's go ahead, remove that one. Perfect. Now we need to remove that bolt here for the tensioner pulley, because there is one hidden bolt and the timing cover is right there as well. So let's do that now. That's normal threaded bolt here, only the pulley was reverse threaded. We need to remove that pulley here, not to forget. So let's do that. Perfect, out. Now we need to remove the mount for the that bracket for the engine mount that supports the engine mount. So we're supposed to have 14mm bolts, but somebody just used different bolts here because they probably lost them. One of them seems like, okay, well, let's leave it on the thing and we can just pull it that way so we can remember where every bolt is. Perfect, just like that. That's the timing cover. Now stay until the end, guys, because if you do something wrong you can severely damage it. Right here we have 2 metal guides that you can pre-soak with penetrating spray, one here, one there, while you're working, so it can start eating that rust, because otherwise, okay, they'll be really stuck and you can have hard time removing the timing cover. We're getting a 12mm socket now, and we start removing the bolts. All right. Perfect. Now let's see what else, okay, we can do here. $10mm bolts. We need to remove all of these now. Perfect. Now let's actually go ahead and see if it's going to come out. You have silicone sealant that can be stuck, and these 2 metal guides, don't pry too much. If you do, you can crack it. If it doesn't go, just go a little bit here on every angle. That way, okay, it can come loose, because if you don't pre-treat those, you don't soak them, you'll be really hard to pull that timing cover. Now that timing cover, you will need to clean the silicone really good. That old silicone needs to just come out, clean it, clean the engine block, the cylinder head here, use rubbing alcohol to make sure that it's not greasy, and later you will need to use a high temp gasket maker, which we'll put the link in the description of the video below, and you will need to apply on the inner side of the bolts, guys, okay, a thin bead. After that you use the same stuff for the oil pan as well. So you can see timing cover came out. So that's how you guys remove the timing cover. If you have any questions, let us know. Hopefully the video will be helpful to any of you trying to do that. Once you remove it, you can see you can get to the timing chain tensioner, main timing chain guides. You have the oil pump right here, and that's the oil pump timing chain, and the oil pump is one piece together with the balance shaft. And actually, okay, one thing that you should never do, take that pulley apart, because you will mess up the balance shaft and you will need to buy new oil pump. So with that being said, okay, we removed, you can see the timing cover. Now what we're going to do, we will bring the engine to TDC point. Okay, we're going to bring it to the TDC point now. So in that case, okay, we're going to install the timing cover. We'll just put it on and we'll put the crankshaft pulley. Okay, so let's just put it on and we will explain why. On the crankshaft pulley, it's a keyed pulley, so we might, if you don't have the spark plugs in the engine, you may be able just to spin it with the crankshaft pulley only. Okay, a little bit this way, perfect. Now right here you have a T, that's for top dead center, and that mark here needs to come there, but it can come, okay, it can come in two different positions, so we will explain why. Because for every 2 revolutions of the crankshaft, okay, right there, a little bit more this way, the camshafts do 1 revolution. You need to verify that the camshafts are at these, okay, these marks right here. Okay, you have a mark there, and you have 1 mark here. They're aligned with the cylinder head. Ours is good, okay, ours is perfect. It's at TDC point, so at that point we don't need to turn it more. Everything is good, and usually you will have the orange dots facing, okay, about that way too, guys. Okay, right there. So we never recommend to replace the tensioner only. Why? Simply due to the fact that if you replace the tensioner only, your timing may jump, okay, and you may not know that, start the engine and you destroy it, you bend valves. So what we are going to do now, okay, I'm going to go ahead, okay, and grab it here and hold, okay, the tensioner. You need 2 people for that, and 1 person can go ahead and remove the tensioner itself. Okay, perfect. And that's the tensioner. Now you will need to, guys, compress the new tensioner in order to install it, otherwise you won't be able to. So let's explain now, okay, how you can simply do that. So we're going to go ahead, hold it right here for a second, okay, so it doesn't move, and I will show you how to compress the tensioner. So if you look at it right here, that tooth, okay, you need to keep it open to a certain position, okay, and I need to go a little bit more, okay, right there, and you can see you compress it. Now you can put a pin, hold it there. Now I'm going to go ahead, install it here, catch one of the bolts, now another one, here I'll hold that one now, okay, we're good, get it tight. Now we'll have the torque specs for the timing chain tensioner on our video about timing chain installation, the whole video, so I would recommend to check it out, and it will teach you about all the torque specs around the timing chain components. Remove the pin, okay, get the slack out of it with hands only, perfect. Make sure you don't have slack here. Put the timing cover, verify you're at TDC point, and verify that these 2 marks are aligning with the cylinder head, okay, and they're in the same plane, so you didn't jump the timing. Hopefully the video will be helpful. Thank you for watching and see you next time.